They said it was too late, that the best years were behind him. But he wasn't done. He was just getting dangerous. This podcast isn't for the overnight success stories. It's for the ones who are still in the middle of the damn fight. The late bloomers, the blue-collar visionaries, the people who refuse to settle. This isn't a comeback. It's a fucking uprising.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Electrician entrepreneur. This week, talking about the critical step of moving from big ideas to a concrete, written out plan. This is where the vision starts to become a reality. We're going to talk about creating a business plan. So before we get into all of that, I just want to, as I do every week, I want to bring you guys up to speed and all that's happened over the past week, and let you know about my wins, my losses, struggles, lessons, etc., etc., etc. So, just wanted to. So we'll start, of course, with last week, and as you know, if you caught last week's episode, you know that I had a bit of a physical struggle. Kind of an odd thing. And I'll tell you what, here's my theory on all of that. And the reason why this is still a topic is because I spent the better part of this week trying to recover from all that had happened over the past weekend, last week. So what I believe is going on is that since I've taken the second shift job that I have now, and at the same time, and if you're not aware, just real quick, the reason I took that second shift job was because I was already on the path to creating something new, to becoming something new. And I wanted to have as much time available during normal business hours to do the things that I wanted to do. Initially, it was day trading, best time to do your to do trade futures. That is at market open or right around market open. And it's kind of hard to do that if you're working on a construction project, as you may well know. At 9:30, 10 o'clock, you're in the thick of it. You're probably balls to the wall, you're holding on to something way above your head on top of a 12-foot ladder, God knows what, and it's no time to get an alert on your phone that you're going to have 30 seconds to react to either buying or selling, going long or going short, as it is on some, on a set of future contracts. So the idea was go second shift, continue to use the skills that I already have to keep earning a living. And then, during the day, I can begin my uprising, as it were. So here's what this boils down to. This path is sort of a mistake. It's certainly not for the weak-willed. And the reason I'm saying that is over time, you will start to suffer from it. My health has been really it hasn't been doing well. It's kind of been in decline. Not to say that I'm going to die next week or anytime soon, but I can't continue on this path. And this is really what led up to the big giant push to get out of this 9-to-5, so to speak, by the end of the year. So what this boils down to is this. I believe that the split in my sleep schedule as a result of this work shift, and then the stuff that I'm doing during the day, that has ultimately, that combined with apparently I have very severe sleep apnea, and so I'm not really sleeping when I do sleep. But even so, you shouldn't be splitting your sleep schedule up the way I am. It's not healthy. And I'm doing this for a very specific reason, is that I'm motivated and I'm going to get myself out of just relying on a paycheck. Instead, I'm going to rely on myself to earn my own living. And that's the idea. And to do that, this was the best thing that I could come up with. And so ultimately, one of the things that begins to happen when you're not sleeping well is, of course, you lose energy. You're always tired. It's a little more difficult to think. And that actually can be, certain parts of the day can be really, really tough. And in addition to that, your physical body will begin to show signs of wear and tear as well. And I think ultimately what happened, what I didn't realize that was happening, is because I sacrificed my exercise regimen. I was actually going to the gym every morning at 4:30 before I took this job that I have now, and I had to I didn't have to give it up, but considering all the new habits and everything that I have now, it was a good thing to give it up anyway, because I needed to develop what I'm going to be taking into the next phase of my life. And so not exercising means also not stretching. And I think ultimately they found signs of degenerative wear on a few discs in my upper spine. And I was kind of talking with a chiropractor this week, and he pointed out every muscle in my upper back has become wound so tight that it's really, really difficult for me to even do very basic stretches right now. The fortunate thing is, and I don't want to get too carried away on this topic, but the fortunate thing is that I'm beginning physical therapy, so I'm already seeing a chiropractor. I'll be continuing to see him next week and probably for the next couple of weeks after that. And I'm beginning physical therapy coming this week. And, we talked a little bit about building habits last week. And that's one of the things that's become painfully obvious that I need to add to my regimen is I need to start doing stretches and small basic exercises, just enough to keep my body from falling into this sort of atrophy that has kind of taken shape. And it's funny too, because if you've been in the trades, you know that doing electrical work, it's a physical thing. So how can you possibly be, how can your body be gaining this atrophy? And I'll tell you, you can still be physically active and still have your body seize up on you. And if you're anywhere near my age, you know that that's true. Just doing your normal everyday tasks. So you can't neglect simple stretches. You should do them every day. This is something I've known from my whole life. These are habits that you really need to make part of your daily routine. And it's something that I've never done. So now the plan is now I got to start doing that. When I was a teenager, I took Tai Chi. So that's kind of where I'm hoping to start doing Tai Chi again, because it's something that I really love. And it combines not just the exercise and the stretching, but it also combines in meditation and has a spiritual element to it. So I really think that covers a lot of bases all at once. And uh, I'm really excited to start working on doing that. And hopefully I'll be able to tell you that I found some success in all of that. At any rate, that's not the only thing that happened over the last week. You might notice that I might be a little bit more uppity, a little more, alive right now. And I'll tell you here, there's a couple of reasons why. First and foremost, what one of the biggest struggles that I've had, and this goes back several weeks now, so it's something that I've been talking about, is, doubt. I've been dealing with a lot of doubt, and every time I think that I'm getting past that doubt, it just creeps right back in. And I talk about how you can overcome doubt. Well, you know, it doesn't. It's a multifaceted thing. It doesn't just go away. And you know what I ended up discovering? If you might think that this is a bunch of hooey, but I promise you, if you do some research, you're going to find that what I'm about to say is absolutely 100% true. And if you open your eyes, that is to say, and I don't mean, literally, if you open your eyes to everything that's around you that could be working for you, and this goes along with the habit of practicing gratitude. If you practice gratitude, it will be easier for you to open your eyes to the things that are around you that that give you ultimately gives you the opportunities that you can chase. In addition to that, provides you the answers to the whatever it is you may be struggling with. And so this is ultimately what happened. For the entire time I was struggling with this doubt, with this fear of failure, and all these things over the last few weeks, what popped up for me is constantly that I just wasn't opening my eyes to see until this past week is sometimes when we are in the midst of a struggle, we're struggling with doubt or fear of failure. Maybe we're just struggling with something at work, how to overcome something, how to tackle something else. We're wired to attempt to correct that, to fight against it and make it bend to our will. And I got to tell you, it is probably the most difficult thing that I can do because I'm always fighting for control over things. And ultimately, all these signs were kind of from the universe, from God, whatever you want to call it. All of these signs were telling me, stop, let go. You don't get to dictate when things are going to happen. You don't get to dictate how things are going to turn out. All you can do is do the thing. And let me explain what that means. Do the thing. Whatever it is that you are afraid of doing, or whatever you've been struggling to get yourself to do, whatever is causing you to not do that, whatever is going on in your head that makes you think that, well, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should hold off. Whatever, it's whatever that is, just do it. Whatever it is that you're thinking you need to do and something is holding you back from doing it, just do it. Because you can't control what the outcome of that's going to be. What you can control is what you do. What you can't control is what's going to be a result. And inaction in and of itself is doing something. You're doing nothing is actually going to have its own result. So if something's going to happen no matter what, and it's out of your control, you might as well do the thing that you know that you need to do so that you can at least have some control. Because when you do nothing, you're giving up complete control. You do something, you at least have the control of doing the thing that you need to do. And then whatever the result is, good or bad, you know what? Then you make the decision on how to react to that and what to do next. Just do it. Just do the thing. You can't control what happens next. So that's doubt. That's fear of failure. That's, the idea that, well, maybe this isn't the right move. That's, I mean, it's fear of failure. There's no other way to put it, right? So what's holding me back from getting started? Well, it's because maybe this thing, I don't know. I don't think that's the right thing. I don't think that's the thing that I should do. But all signs point to that's the thing. So, and it's funny. So, while I'm journaling is like, well, have you considered just surrendering to whatever it is that's going to happen on the other side of this? And I'm like, yeah, what do you mean? Surrender doesn't mean to give up. Surrender means stop trying to control that which you cannot control. Is a very simple concept that's almost impossible to grasp if you are a control freak. So I'm getting way, way, way outside of this week's theme, but I really wanted to kind of talk about this because it was a very important thing. So here's the result of the whole story. Okay. I was doubting that this business idea, that starting this business that I'm starting, that the beginning steps were the correct steps. I kept putting it in my head that this was somehow going to result in a failure of the entire plan. And ultimately, the success or failure of it is going to be what I can put into it. If it fails, it's because I didn't do enough. Maybe it's not the best idea, but I can modify the idea as I go along if I need to. The ultimate business, it can only succeed or fail based on the amount of effort that I'm willing to put into it. So, this being a constant, why am I worried about taking that first step? So Monday or Tuesday afternoon, I finally said, I keep seeing messages over and over and over again. Just take the step. There's nothing you can do about what happens next. You just take that step, and then you take the next step, and then you take the next step, and you just keep working at it. If this one doesn't work, then you take the next step, and maybe that one works. Whatever it is, just do it. So I did. I said, you know what? I got to stop thinking about tomorrow. Start thinking about today. What am I doing right now? Am I doing nothing because I'm afraid of tomorrow? Ha! Fuck that. So I'm going to do the thing. So actually, it was Tuesday that I made that decision. Wednesday morning, I drafted my operating agreement. And after I finished drafting my operating agreement, you need an operating agreement when you file for an LLC. You don't need to file the operating agreement, but you do have to have one on hand. And then after I finished drafting that, I went ahead and I filed for my LLC. And it was, I got to tell you, that was a little nerve-wracking because I'm not exactly, I can't really be just spending money left and right. So I'm looking at this $500 bill to the state of Massachusetts and thinking, ugh. But again, it's only money, right? This is an investment into the future. So pulled the trigger, filed for the LLC, was approved the very next day. Then I went forward and filed for my EIN, which is your tax ID through the IRS. And after filing for that, I also have to file for a business certificate. And the business certificate is similar to a DBA. So we have a business. We are in business. And everything starts now. And I actually love that phrase. Everything starts now, because you can use that at any time, and it's absolutely true. It's never not true. Everything starts now. So there you go. I spent 25 minutes instead of 10 telling you all about what's happened over the past week. If I were to give you any lessons, well, I think I gave you the lesson that I learned this week, which was that sometimes we just have, not sometimes, you should always just let go of what's going to happen tomorrow. You can't control it. The best thing you can do is to take action today. Do the thing that you know you need to do. Just do it. There's no reason why you shouldn't. If you're looking to become successful, you're going to have to beat out procrastination. You're going to have to beat out being tired. You're going to have to beat out some, silly injury in the back of your, in the back of your neck that now my neck cricks when I move it. So, but you know what? And I'm on a steady regimen of ibuprofen and acetaminophen. It is what it is. I can keep moving forward because I know, first of all, is health wise, I know that, once I get the funding for all of this, and once I'm like really going forward, I can give up that other job. I can start sleeping a regular schedule. I have a CPAP now. So hopefully when I start sleeping in a regular schedule, the CPAP will begin to, really take effect and help me to sleep. Julie's actually told me that, I stopped snoring with it. She's like, it's crazy. It's eerie. The room is quiet. so, all good things are happening right now. And you really, you gotta just do the thing, guys. Do the thing. So now let's get into, and it's great that these things happen over this past week, and this is how we're going to. So when you begin to think to yourself that you're ready to do something different, say you've been an electrician for 20, 30 years, you're approaching half century mark, or maybe, I don't know, maybe you're 40 when you start doing this, and at whatever age you're deciding that you're going to make this push. Everybody knows that you have to have a business plan. And so the business plan really kind of starts to take shape when you start saying, this is what I want to do. I have a passion for this sort of thing. So I'm going to start putting together an idea on how I can do that thing that I'm passionate about and earn a living and find my own financial independence. It's not the idea, it's getting started, right? Psychologically, getting over that hurdle, well, I'm too old, or my body's too broken, or I don't know. I've only ever failed at everything. I mean, for some people, that's how they feel. So even it's, when you get stuck in that mindset, incidentally, where it's like everything I do just never seems to work out, people that feel that way genuinely consider the idea of trying to do anything like this as an instant lose. And it's your mindset that's holding you back there. And changing your mindset from that is probably the most daunting thing that you're going to go through. But regardless, that's not really where I'm going with this. The biggest hurdle with getting started is not just in the idea. As I was getting started, I thought day trading was going to be the way. And, and I mean, I've had my moments of real success, but the truth of the matter is it wasn't going to work. Not as long as I didn't completely change my mindset and begin to understand that, at the end of the day, it is kind of gambling. you can never really know what the outcome is. You know, it's like playing poker, right? So poker is still gambling, but if you're a really good poker player, you can find a modicum of success doing it. It's still gambling. You can't know for certain what the outcome of what you're doing is. You just can play your cards the best that you can play them. And ultimately you have a much higher chance at success as opposed to somebody that's just winging it. Either way, it's still gambling. And that's kind of what trading future contracts is. Some people they're just really, really good at playing their cards. You know, I mean, you watch the World Series of Poker and you can see some people are just really good at playing poker. Do you think that you could sit in the same table with those guys? You know, it'd take some time before you kind of had that ability, right? Same with day trading. So, and in day trading even more so, because you're not playing against somebody across the table from you. You're playing against millions of people across the world. So that wasn't going to work out. But you know, while I was going through that process of figuring that out and beginning to put together the final idea of beginning a business, really getting out there and becoming financially independent and all those things, you know, the sheer volume of detail, you know, it's easy to get caught up with the top of the mountain. You know, every journey, you know, every undertaking like this, you're climbing a mountain, right? You're looking to get to the mountaintop, and everyone does this. They look at the end of the end, right? And then they look at all of the steps to get to the top. And you know, that so it really, it's like, holy crap, that's too many, that's too much, it's a lot. How am I going to make it to the top? There's all these steps. How am I going to get there? And the truth of the matter is that, you know, the road to success is not through the sheer volume of steps. It's the step you take now. And when you look back after doing that every day, you can see how many steps. Don't look at how many steps lay before you. Instead, remind yourself of how many steps lay behind you. Not to get caught. You can use that as, you know, the sheer volume of what you have been able to accomplish should be plenty of motivation for you to be able to take this next step. And so, here's where you just got to start. Where you got to start is you got to know where you want to get to. You know what you want to accomplish. You're opening up a business, right? And why do you need a business plan? The business plan isn't just a document that you can use for investors. Typically, that's what people will tell you. You need a business plan. This is how you get banks to loan you money. This is how you get your startup capital, blah, blah, blah. It's true. You do. You're going to use this for investors. You're going to use this document for the banks to give you your startup capital, get you rolling and you know, and all those things. You do need this business plan for that. But the truth of the matter is that what you're going to do is your business plan is going to lay out, here's my destination. And here is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. This is look, I've already planned out every step to get me to there. That's what that is. And it's that the investors all want that information to show that you're dedicated to getting there, right? But forget about them for a minute. Your business plan is you putting your mind to work to figure out how you're going to actually accomplish it. That's your roadmap, right? It's your blueprint. You work construction, you'll know what I mean. When you look at a set of prints, you know you're going to lay out all this stuff in your construction plan. You're going to lay it out. Then you're going to start to put everything together. Then as an electrician, okay, you're going to lay out all your boxes. And then after you've got all your boxes laid out, then you're going to pull all your wire, and then or run all your conduit. Then you're going to pull all your wire, and then you know what's your next step? After you run your wire, you pull your wire, you're going to do your trim out, right? After you've done your trim out, then you're going to wait for drywall. After drywall, you're going to go and you're going to start, doing your devices, right? Install your motors, install your whatever it is, right? Install your light fixtures. When you begin a construction project, you start at the beginning, but you have a whole blueprint that tells you that you can use to plan every step to the end. This is what it's going to look like at the end. This is what a business plan is. Okay, guys? Seriously. Don't get daunted by the sheer volume of steps. You know that when you show up today, you're going to do this, you're going to pull the wire. Or if you're a framer, you're gonna lay out a room, or a bunch of rooms. You got to put the walls together. You got to do the foundation, whatever it is. You know what I mean? And so you know that there's a step-by-step process. You know, you have an idea what it's going to look like at the end when you start, but you have a plan. That's what a business plan is. You got to have all these details in there, but don't think of the sheer volume of detail you got to put in there. Start with what's your idea, then go back and think to yourself, okay, so what this is what my idea is. How am I going to fund this? What am I how many employees? I mean, how many people do I need to help me to do this? So how many employees am I going to have? Who am I doing this for? That'll be the guys in the little corner there that says who the owner is, who the general contractor is, etc., who the architect, the engineer is, right? So all that stuff is there. Is what you're putting into this business plan. You basically think of how a business is, and that's what you're going to do. Here's ultimate. So this is why, okay. You need a business plan just like you need a set of blueprints to do a construction project. Or maybe you're an over-the-road driver. You need a business plan just like you need your GPS or a map to show you from where you are now how to get to where you need to go. And that's what it is. So now, yes, you need the document for your investors, for the banks, whoever, but you need it for yourself. And so if you're struggling with this, as I was, and as most first time business owners do, I'm almost positive that every business owner, when they start out the first time, they go through this. It's like, all right, so where do I start? Get yourself a guide. Right? Get yourself, maybe you want a coach, maybe you want to take a class, maybe talk to a lawyer or business consultant or a CPA. I mean, all those guys can help you at least get you on the right path, right? Beautiful thing that we have today is AI. And I know a lot of people are afraid of AI right now. God, I was just having this conversation with one of my colleagues at work yesterday, at the beginning of my shift. And he's, oh my God, it's AI so scary. Listen, why is AI scary to you? Is it because you're thinking of Terminator or Matrix, Agent Smith? Stop it. That's not what AI is. Okay. Do your research. Get over your fear of AI. That's not what AI is today. AI is nothing more than algorithms and programming. Okay. And I know that essentially that's what the AI you're thinking of probably is, but there's a difference. The AI that you're thinking of is an AI that's capable of teaching itself. The AI that we have now just basically uses the information available to itself to provide you with the best answer, or to essentially to make you happy. It's looking, you're asking it a question, or having a conversation with it, and it wants to, not from some sentient place of desire, but the programming wants to return to you what it is it thinks you're looking for. And it's just using a bunch of algorithms and everything to predict what that might be. I promise you, do your research. There are a lot of reasons why, we could fear AI down the road, but right now, I promise you, it's not to be. It's nothing to be afraid of. It actually could be one of the greatest tools that you will. That, I mean, think of it like this: AI today is like the sudden, the sudden commercialization of the internet. All of a sudden information was instantly available to everyone at a split second. I mean, whatever you might want whatever. Oh my God, when is Eric Clapton coming? All you got to do is pull up your phone, right? Which, by the way, you wouldn't have that without the internet being first commercialized. But you can, you just pull up your laptop, pull up your phone, whatever, just beep, 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 beep. Oh, there's your answer, right? This is the next technological breakthrough. Now we can save ourselves all kinds of time in searching for information. Not only that, but you can, because large language models are designed to return to you the information you're looking for in a format that you can relate best with. So almost human like, right? But what I mean is that you can use AI now to churn what would take 20 minutes or an hour or 2 hours of searching and compiling information and whatever, so on and so forth. It can do that for you in 30 seconds and put it in a format completely summarizing everything that you're looking to figure out. And if you've given it enough information based on how you want it presented, et cetera, it can come back to you and give you that information in a way that makes perfect sense to you so that you can move forward. So you know what I did is I'm struggling to figure out how I'm going to get this started. And I got to say, 10 years ago, I don't know that I probably would have had a much tougher time, with all the fear of doubt and everything else that I've been going through, getting started. Without having this tool of AI, I probably would have struggled far more. So, as a 50-year-old 10 years ago, it probably would have been, I don't know, maybe it's too late. It's going to take me too long to get anywhere. I don't know. That's probably how I would have felt. Not to say that it would have been true. Some people, over the last 40, 50 years, it's an astronomical amount of people that entrepreneurs that have become successful at the age of 45. This is a statistic that I heard on a podcast from an expert. I don't know. I'll have to look it up to be able to provide you with the source of that information. But this is my understanding. So I'm sure that if we Google it, what the age range is of the most successful entrepreneurs, worldwide, in the last 50 years, I'm sure it'll come up as with that information, because I believe the source that I heard it from. And I mean, I don't have any reason not to. But nonetheless, for me, it would have been almost overwhelmingly too much to do without AI. So because so this I'm basically I'm giving you this information so that you can maybe use this too, so that you can maybe overcome whatever is keeping you from going down the path that you want to go down. And so what I did is when I started the podcast and started building the plan for the business and all these other things, is I subscribed to Google Workspace, and I can't remember. I think it's $10 or $12 a month. It's also gave me the domain that I use for the podcast, which there's not much to the website now, and I know I've been promising some features the last few weeks. But the electrician to entrepreneur.com, please visit it. You can definitely figure out other platforms for the podcast from there. We got several linked. You can also find links to our Facebook, Instagram, etc., X profiles there. But but at any rate, that came with the subscription. But moreover is that you get a in addition to all the other things that Google Workspace provides, which is this is a business tool set. In addition to all those things, it gives you a higher or a more advanced version of Gemini. And this more advanced version of Gemini now you can use this inside of your Gmail. You can use this within Docs, Sheets, etc., etc. These are all free tools, by the way, that you get from Google, that so you don't have to have Office, right? If you weren't aware, you don't have to subscribe to Microsoft Office. You can use Google's version for free. Well, now you get AI in it when you use Workspace. But the reason I'm using all this, Gemini has gems, and gems are very specific AI models for very specific purposes. And I was just messing around. I was looking at some of the pre-built ones. I had already kind of made a couple of my own, but I decided to try Career Guide, and wouldn't you know it, I just kind of stumbled through my way through describing what I want for the business, et cetera, and it gave me a business plan. That's how I managed to get over all of the daunting steps of figuring out how to make a business plan. There's no reason you can't. Today, more than any other time in history, there's no reason that you can't do the thing. Whatever excuses you can come up with, technology keeps fucking taking them away. There's no reason you can't do the thing. Maybe you want to freaking open up your own electrical contracting business, or your own paving contracting business, or whatever it is. All the information you need. You don't need a college degree. You don't need to spend freaking the next 2 years going through various different courses to learn how to do business. You can learn how to do all these things. You just need the fucking will to do it. Period. And I promise you, I mean, I've never felt more on the cusp of freaking success than I do right now. I don't have a goddamn dime. I don't have a single client. But you know what? I know it's fucking coming. When I mentioned to you guys that I started practicing the gratitude, etc., and I've been following, one thing that's also very common amongst a lot of entrepreneurs is the belief in the laws of abundance. Let me explain to you what I mean by the laws of abundance. Is It's manifestation. It's the idea that if I visualize myself in a certain place, doing a certain thing with, with a certain amount of money or with certain people or whatever, if I visualize that, then it will happen. Now, the misconception there is that you don't just plant an image in your head. You have to honestly, truly believe yourself as that person now. So you got to do all the things that you would do as that person, whatever it is, 5 years from now that you're envisioning. You have to, do some research on it. Trust me, if you will not, you'll be a little bit surprised if you have some misconception of what it means to manifest. You think it's some kind of hooey. Research it, please. Certainly, if I had more time, I would begin putting all this information together for all of you to see. It's when you begin to manifest things, it's amazing how easier things become, and it's amazing how quickly things come to you, how easier things come to you. It's through manifestation I'm not worried about losing the will to continue on, because I believe it's going to happen so much that I don't see why not to do it. So even through all of the doubt and the fear of failure and maybe I'm not good enough, maybe that's not the right move, maybe this, maybe that, even through all of that, I wouldn't give up. And I was just talking about this with Julie today. If anything, when I decide that I want to do something, I don't see that I'm going to be doing anything other than that thing. When I truly commit myself to doing something so I'm, that to me is a big part of the manifestation that I'm talking about. But the reason I talk about this, the reason why I want to bring this up is, through the power of gratitude and through the this manifestation and everything, when I go to sleep at night, before I would have these crazy dreams, and I've always kind of looked at even nightmares, at all my dreams, almost like they're movies or TV shows. It's just entertainment. Sometimes I don't want to wake up because the freaking dream that I'm having is so crazy. Is like, what's going to happen next? and it's funny, is now every dream that I have is the person that I am expecting to be. I feel like I'm, it almost feels like there's a part of me, the old part of me, that's still there, that feels like maybe I'm gone crazy. And maybe you're listening to this going, yeah, no, he's lost his fucking mind. Yeah, maybe. You know what? But I'll accept that delusion. If I just wake up one day and I'm so crazy that I believe that all these things are true, then I accept it. But listen to everybody who talks about it. Do a Google search on Jim Carrey and the power of manifestation. There's a pretty powerful story there. And the single most valuable lesson is to not get daunted by the sheer volume of detail in creating your business plan. Not to get daunted, and it's beyond just your business plan. It's everything. If you're having trouble taking the next step, knowing where you're headed, if you're really struggling with just all the things that you've got to do, create a plan and take the next step on your plan. It's like setting up a to-do list. You got a to-do list, you prioritize all your tasks, and then you take the next one, and then you take the next one, right? That's what a business plan is too. It's basically, it's a to-do list. that lays out exactly how you're going to, how you get from where you are now to where, where you want to be with your business. And, and it lays out all the answers. It's like, well, so how are you going to fund this? Or how are you going to, it's all in there. And if you're not sure what this document should look like, and incidentally, business plan can always be modified. Just because you made a business plan doesn't mean that you can't change it. Okay. It's, everything you do has the power of becoming something different. So take it one step at a time. Get started. Start writing. If you don't know where to begin, if you don't want to trust AI, do a Google search on how to create a business plan. If you're okay with AI will. I did it in a freaking. When I finally decided, when I finally found this gem, and I finally decided to give it a shot, I had a fucking business plan in 2 hours, and it was completely laid out. And again, how I said that you can always change it. This morning, I freaking redid it again. Not because I wanted it to be a little bit more specific about some things, and I wanted to correct some other things. And I mean, it's not because I made any major changes, but I wanted to look a specific way. I wanted to say a specific thing, and I wanted to put it out there. If you don't know how to get AI to help you with these things, if you're just going around in circles, ask AI. If you were looking to create a business plan and you wanted to ask yourself how to do that, what exactly would you say to yourself? And describe whatever it is that your business is. Describe what your situation is, where you're starting from, what tools you might already have, or what tools you need to get. The trick with AI, in order to make it to truly make it work for you, is to be as descriptive as possible. You can't write too much information into a prompt. You can't. You might confuse. You don't want to go over the same subject 4 times, but be very specific with AI, and it will be very specific back, and it'll give you what you're looking for. So here's what I would like you guys to do before I wrap things up. I'd like you use a tool like a 1-page template or AI and just get a plan together. Even if it's just bullshit, even if it's, if you're not planning on creating a new business or whatever, just make something up. Put a plan together. Give it a shot. Try it. Maybe you find on the other side of that there is a business that you want to create. I don't know. Give it a shot. Moreover, though, after you're done with that, wherever you're listening to this podcast, drop by Spotify or YouTube or my Facebook page, whatever. Leave me a comment. Leave me a comment talking about what your results were, what came out of that, or what your thoughts are on business plans. Maybe there's something that I talked about during this episode that resonates with you, and you have something to say about it. Do me a favor, drop that comment in, and I urge you guys. Okay, I'm just starting out, and the more that this podcast grows, okay, and it's growing. I know it's not growing like it's not the greatest new show on TV or whatever. It is growing, but I'm going to keep urging you guys, please, if you comment, share. It's going to continue to help me. And the more that this grows, the easier it will be when the time comes for, when I begin to look for clients and I begin to scale up. These things, everything that you can do in that way, which is just a simple little thing, is going to help me find success easier and quicker. And I really appreciate you guys listening in. I do appreciate those of you that have been liking and commenting and sharing. And I'm going to thank my old boss, Tim, for the kind text message that he sent me this week about my last week's episode. And no, you don't. I'm not fishing for another compliment, but I do thank you for that. And I hope you guys continue to tune in every week with my podcast. I will do everything I can, just like I'm going to build this business and hopefully give you some kind of inspiration to build your own, or to seek out that career that you've always wanted. Maybe you're a youngster thinking about getting into the trades. Please do. Go talk to an electrician, find out what school you should go to, how you should approach it. Do the thing that you've been thinking about doing. If you've got something brewing in that head and you've got this feeling in your heart that this is where you need to go, do it. Just do it. And, and keep tuning in, please. I really appreciate you guys being here every week. You give me something to look forward to, certainly, most definitely something I look forward to doing every week. And so I can't thank you guys enough for joining me. And I know I just spent 5 minutes thanking you. But yeah, so all that being said, next week, just a quick teaser for next week, we're going to be securing the financing and launching the brand. So, again, thank you for joining, and I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you take that next step, and we'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.